Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on a little bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now, it's an exciting year in 2022, obviously apart from what's happening in Eastern Europe. Anyhow, for those people in the region, God bless, and hopefully everything is safe for you there. Anyway, 2 days ago, there has been an excitement news published by the South Australian government in regards to its new Dharma program. So the Dharma, as you know, I've done a video probably 2 years ago, but due to the pandemic, there hasn't been much of an update. Dharma is a designated agreement for area of migration agreement for a certain regional in Australia, where the federal government is providing a very exempt, or should I say a specialized advantaged area for employment visa there. Let's jump in there and have a look what the news is all about. But if you do want to know more about what Dharma is, I've actually done a video long ago. You probably can search in my channel to check out what the actual structure and scheme that is. Anyway, let's have a look what excitement came from the state of South Australia. So this, I think this is actually 2 days ago. Now, let's move this into the center of the screen so everybody can read. So there has been announcement of the latest change to Dharma occupation list. Now, it's very exciting because that actually include a lot of should I say, a very low-ended labor jobs available for people, for the employer in South Australia to actually nominate and sponsor these people to work there. Why? Obviously, because after pandemic, there's a lot of shortages, as you know, and I've already made a lot of videos in regards to news article talking about this. So it's a fact, it's a factual situation. So it's called the Destinator Area Migration Agreement. If you want to know more about what that is all about, I've actually done a video on that one there. So what has been changed? The South Australia has secured a range of new occupations. So in conjunction to the new opening of the border, obviously they want more people to go there. People may ask, why South Australia? What about New South Wales? What about Victoria? What about Queensland and things, other places? I haven't seen much, but traditionally the hurdle for Dharma sponsorship is actually finding a Dharma employer. I'm going to go through all the detail here today, so the video will be a little bit long, but we should have a full cover and explanation of the whole visa program. So instead of going through medium, long-term or short-term list where it's generally a skill and professional work or technical work employments. For a lot of regions in Australia, the shortage of a skill, not just for technical and professional occupation, but a lot of laboring a lot of laboring works still require people to go and work there. So there is a different way how the South Australia will provide skill assessment. They still require skill assessment, but not through the general skill assessing authorities. Okay, so there is a concession. Here we go. That's the advantage of Dharma. But the hard part is finding the right Dharma employer. We're gonna go through with you on that one. And there's a pathway to permanent residency. So it's the same as the 482 visa, whereby you work there for 3 years. You will be able to transfer yourself into permanent residency. There is a concession for English, and also concession in the skill experiences, and also concession in the age requirement. For instance, a general, if you've seen my video previously on 186, the age limit is 45 years of age. Now this one will probably go up to 55. You can still get PR there. So again, they explain about the skill assessing authority. So the South Australian government continues to act as skill assessing authority for the occupation. We're going to go through with that one now. The big advantage here is people who are in the industry of horticulture. You notice that South Australia is big in horticulture industry. So any kind of job connect to horticulture, if you find the right employer, you'll be able to stay there and get your work visa and ultimately pathway to permanent residency. Okay, now next page, shall we? Okay, so this is actual explanation. Now you may be able to find this through Google, and the detail you may want to read by yourself, but I'm gonna go through this with you so you have a better understanding what it's out there. Obviously there's so many options here. We are basically going through the left hand side, the navigation, so you actually know what you require or your employer in South Australia requires. So the South Australian Designated Area Migration Agreement, Dharma, is a formal agreement between Australian government and representing Department of Home Affairs and South Australian government. So it's a joint kind of agreement. I haven't seen other state done the same thing, but I think, as I said, the government of Australia is focusing on getting more people to South Australia to build Adelaide to become the 4th largest city. Just as Brisbane is going for Olympic 2032. Just like 20-30 years ago, Sydney is going through Olympic, Brisbane is catching up, and now Brisbane having the Olympic, Adelaide is catching up. That's the whole plan. So South Australia has entered into 2 Dharmas. One is Adelaide Technology and Innovation. Now this is all about all the space tech and all that kind of stuff, but from what I see, the professionals in those kind of technology arenas could actually go through general employer sponsorship or perhaps GTI straight away. But if you are some sort of technicians, require specialist technicians just for a particular technical works, for example, for the space tech, but you're not a professor or some sort, probably can go through this Dharma program. But you need to get a job from the Adelaide Technology Innovation Advancement related employer. Now the other one obviously is what everybody focus more on, is all the laboring jobs and works, is the region workforce agreement. So now Dharma enable South Australian employers. So the key here again is the employer. I know a lot of viewers will say, well, hints up, I don't want to do it. But look, the key here is to find an employer who could actually offer you the job and wanted to take you in. Okay, so without employer, you cannot do anything. Okay, I know a lot of people had willing to do it, but you need to find the employer who is willing to provide offer and job for you and sponsor you. Okay, so employer is the key. They need to sponsor skilled overseas workers position unable to fill local workers. Employer experience, skill, labor shortage can apply endorsement, enter into Dharma and labor agreement, enable them to sponsor skill and semi-skill. And that's what I'm saying. Semi-skill basically are all the laboring jobs, overseas workers. Now, there's a blah 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 down there. Now the authority that we need to focus on here is what they call DAR, the DAR, the Designated Area Representative. That is the authority that will assess those semi-skill experiences people. So the laboring experiences. Without being assessed by DAR, you won't be able to go through here. Now there's a roles and responsibility. Again, here we go. That's the explanation of DAR, Designated Area Representative. So DAR is the co-signatory to the agreement and is responsible for broad oversight, endorsement, sponsored under the agreement. So they not just assessing your experience, but they also assess the employers and endorse those employer within the Dharma program. So the management admin of Dharma, assessing, endorse the employer, monitoring, reporting, continue consulting with the employer, and also the skill assessment as well. So Australian government, anyway, that's Australian government will basically work on the visa program, and they already have that Dharma labor agreement with the South Australia. So governing legislative requirement, working endorse employer. processing nomination, and so on and so forth. So employer endorsement. Now this is another, again, repeating of what I just said. The key here is the employer. So employer required to see endorsement from DA again to sponsor overseas worker under Dharma. So meet the term and condition by DA and enter individual Dharma labor agreement. Now generally this Dharma labor agreement is done by a lawyer between the employer and the Department of Immigration. Now for South Australia it's different. Now you don't go straight to federal government, go through straight to immigration. You're required to go through DA first. DA will assess you, and DA, if DA is happy to endorse you, they will take your sponsorship and employment to the Home Affairs Office to get that prioritized and approved. So ensure nomination criteria is the best, pay all application fee, again, lodge nomination, fill vacancy through temporary skill shortage program or the skill employer sponsor regional provisional visa, and where eligible lodge permanent residency through ENS, meet sponsor obligation, work with DA and Commonwealth Department. Again, so that's how the procedure will work. Okay, now let's go to the second navigation bar here, talking about concession. I think this is the key and also the exciting part here, because it's certainly different to the traditional what we have talked about in 482 and the 186. So there are three types of concession. One is the income can be less, because if you only require laboring or semi-skilled work, obviously you don't need to go up to $50,900, and the English requirement can be lower, and there's a permanent resident pathway and the age, as I have at the beginning of this video had mentioned. So the TISMIT generally is again $53,900. It can be reduced down to 90% of that. So I don't know what that is. Probably about just under 50,000 per annum. If occupation is not eligible for TISMIT concession, then obviously you need to meet that TISMIT, the $53,900. And there are so many different type of things. I'm not going to go through all that because there's just so many occupations, but I'm here to provide a guideline that you may visit this website and have a deep read in regards to your occupation and in regards to your particular industry. Now English, there's also concession. There's no more requirement to be 5, you can be 4.5. And if you want to become ENS concession, that's becoming permanent resident, you only require 5 to go there, and you can take OET, IELTS, TOEFL, whatever it is. I think that's all available everywhere. And the age requirement, again, the traditional employment sponsor is at the cap of age of 45. So there, here we go. It says for occupation skill level 1, that's all the managerial role, can be 52 years of age under, and skill 2 to 4, so a little bit less, so professional and all the semi-skill work, 47. So not much of difference, because 45 and 47. Anyway, skill and work experiences. I'm gonna take you to the actual occupation list, where you can actually have all that detail there. I think it's more clear from the list itself. But if you want to take a deep read, sure, just a lot of thing there. But now, skill assessing authority, again, DA takes the part of that one. I'm going to teach you how you can actually read those things. So the assessment criteria, now this is more for employer. So it's the same as the 482 standard business sponsorship. So you need to be actively operational and lawfully established, obviously, in South Australia. You don't want to apply for South Australia while your business is based in Sydney. That won't work. Okay, it has to be at least 12 months. Unique workforce. This is very generic, and you need to do the labor market testing. I've done a specific video on this one. This is more for employer. You need to show evidence that you cannot find local workers, okay, or not enough to cover your workload or cover your business require. Okay, and the employer endorsement criteria, again, this is all about the financials, tax payments, and things like that. It's pretty general, and there's no adverse information in regards to the business or employer there, so they haven't breached any fair work or any I don't know, criminal actions probably won't be there. Anyway, terms and condition, this is a bit boring. I'm not gonna go through with terms and condition, but if the employer is happy, they wanted to go through all this, or perhaps the lawyer would take you through all this together. RCB is the regional certifying body. That's for 491. It's not really not for Dharma. Anyway, okay, now let's go to, shall we go to the actual occupation list? I think it's, where's the link? It's actually, we saw it somewhere. There was a link. Oh no, sorry, it's a previous page. I've already got it here. Okay, now this page you can actually access from the top, where it says, you will see right up there, occupation. When you click here, you have the general occupation list. That's for the general skill migration people. And the Dharma occupation list, you will actually end yourself here. Now, again, South Australia government has done a great job to have this web page design. It's very good because it has search engine. You can find it much easier. So you can type whatever the occupation here you wish for. But I'm going to take you one by one, and let's look at a key here. As long as you see the ends code with a number, I think that's 0. Okay, start with 0 or 7 or 8. That will be something specialized design for South Australia, because you don't find those kind of ends code in the general occupation list at all. Now you can see this 070499 for advancement manager. That's more for the tech people in the space tech or whatever it is. You'll see there's actually no skill assessing authority for this occupation, so you need to go through with DA, and it will tell you the experiences that are required for you. Okay, so they are looking for someone with 5 years of work experience, or perhaps 10 years if you don't have a bachelor degree. That's how you read it. I think this is how easy South Australia has done the search engine for. So apart from going through all the nitty-gritty that we have gone through for the first half of this video, why not just jump into this occupation list? But I still need to go through some structural explanation for you anyway. And there's some concessions. So that's you see the concession is under 55 years of age. Okay, now if we go to the horticulture, I think that's the one I'm pretty excited about, because there is a big horticultural courses and students down in South Australia. So whatever the role that you're working in, you see the ends code is still 070499. So if you're a production horticulturalist, now let's have a read of what the requirement it is. Obviously it needs you to be inner and outer regional South Australia to be worked there. Now for sure, if you want to breed all these plants, you need to find somewhere it's external of the city. So that's pretty easy. Now all you need is a certificate 3. That's it. Now, and or perhaps you have work experiences of 3 or 5 years experiences, and all you need is work experience need to be at least 20 hours per week. Now that's pretty easy. So while you completing your certificate 3, and you're moving on to your certificate 4 or perhaps advanced diploma in horticulture, whatever agriculture management, you have the right to work part-time. Although during pandemic you can work full-time, as long as you have 20 hours per week, okay, and 1 year experiences for the last 3 years. Wow, is that it? That's all you need. So during your study, right after you completing your certificate 3 and you work part-time for 1 year, you'll be eligible as long as you have a Dharma employer to sponsor you. So skill assessing authority, just go through DA, write to DA, and there's a occupation profile skill. Let's click on that and see what that reads. And the concession, okay, English you only need 5, turning into PR, you only need 5, and there's TISMIC concession as well. So there's so many concession here and can be worked under 55. So here we go. That's the beauty of this Dharma program. I think previously, now obviously there's so many other occupation that which I won't have a time to go through in this video, but if you scroll down, you will see there's a driller, there's miner, there's a shot firer. I'm not too sure what that occupation does, and all this is having a lot of concessions there. And if we go to this the occupation profile, it basically tells you what the horticulturalists, what they actually do. So if you read the task, is ordering seed, select seed base, prepare growing media, management, propagation, planting, operation. I mean, this is pretty easy stuff. Okay, anyway, the key here is that for this video is to direct you about what Dharma is. Now, traditionally, the Dharma program is actually very hard to apply because the employer will require to have their knowledge and being consulted by a lawyer, understand they require to sign a program, an agreement between federal government and the employer, and the federal government will allocate a quota for this employer to employ overseas worker. Either it's going to be semi-skilled or professional workers. So obviously for small, medium-sized business, these employers will have no knowledge where to access information and how they can access a professional lawyer to actually help them to do that. So instead of doing that, South Australia has come and stepping forward to assist by establishing this DAR authority, DAR, to help these South Australian employers, small and medium-sized businesses, to get them access to the federal government's information and get that bridge connected and with all the concession applied and done. So I think this is a very good step for South Australia. And as I said, if you wanted to migrate to Australia, South Australia is always #1 state to go for because it has all type of visa open up for you. Anyway, should you have more questions, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.